All right, let's break this down. We're jumping into Microsoft's latest earnings call, and really, it all boils down to one huge idea from CEO Satya Nadella, this concept of a massive AI factory that's set to change, well, pretty much everything. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so to really get a grip on Microsoft's whole AI strategy, you've got to start with the sheer scale of it all. Nadella kicked things off with a couple of jaw-dropping numbers that, honestly, set the stage for everything else he talked about. First up, get this, $49 billion. That's what Microsoft Cloud pulled in, and we're not talking about a full year here. That's for just one quarter. It's just a staggering number, and it shows you the kind of foundation they're working with. And here's the kicker. That huge number, it's still on the rise. We're talking 26% growth compared to last year. So what does that tell you? The demand for what they're selling isn't just strong, it's actually picking up speed. It's accelerating.
So the big question is, how in the world is Microsoft making this happen? Well, Nadella laid it out pretty clearly. It all comes back to building the absolute bedrock, the core infrastructure. And he's got this perfect term for it. He calls it their AI factory.
And this AI factory idea, it's not just a clever phrase. It's a really powerful way to think about their entire game plan. See, it's not just about having a bunch of data centers. Nope. It's about building a literal assembly line for artificial intelligence. And that bit he says about maximizing tokens per dollar per watt, that's just a techie way of saying they're obsessed with efficiency. How can they squeeze the absolute most AI power out of every single dollar and every bit of energy? It's all about being the best, the fastest, and the cheapest. And the speed at which they're building this thing, it's just mind-boggling. They're planning to double their entire data center footprint. Think about that for a second. Everything they've built up to this point, they're going to build it all over again in just the next 2 years. That's insane. And they're not just building empty boxes, right? They're packing them with the absolute latest, most powerful gear you can get, like NVIDIA's brand new GB300 chips. Now, you can't talk about their AI factory without talking about OpenAI. Their partnership is a huge piece of this puzzle, and they just doubled down on it. And this isn't some small update. We're talking about a new commitment worth $250 billion in Azure services. But maybe even more important is that they've locked in their exclusive IP rights until 2032. That's a huge strategic win for them. Okay, so you've built this incredible world-class AI factory. What's next? You can't just keep the doors closed. You throw them wide open. And that's exactly what Microsoft is doing. They're turning all this power and infrastructure into a massive playground for developers. And that playground is called Azure AI. And let's be clear, this isn't some little niche thing for a few tech startups. No way. We're talking about 80%, 80 of the Fortune 500. The biggest companies in the world are already in this playground, building stuff. They're part of a huge customer base of over 80,000. You know, the strategy here is pretty brilliant. They're essentially trying to become the Costco or the Walmart of AI models. It's all about choice. If you're a developer on Azure, you get access to more than 11,000 different models. Microsoft isn't trying to pick the one model that's going to win. Instead, they're just building the biggest store and putting all the models on the shelf for you to choose from. And this isn't just theory, right? This is already turning into actual tools that you and I can see and use. You've got companies like Ralph Lauren using it to build a personal shopper right into their app, helping you find a new shirt. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have Open Evidence creating an AI assistant that helps doctors sift through medical data to make better calls. It's happening everywhere. All right, so we've covered the foundation, the factory, and we've covered the tools for the builders. Now, let's move up the stack to the part that millions of us are actually touching and using every day. This is what Nadella is calling the Copilot revolution. And again, this is not a coming soon kind of thing. This is happening right now. 150 million people. That's how many are using a Microsoft Copilot every single month. The wave is already here. And for businesses, the impact is, well, it's real and you can measure it. You see these massive companies like PwC just going all in, deploying it to more than 200,000 of their people. And the payoff is there? Lloyd's Banking Group did the math and found they're saving every employee about 46 minutes a day. I mean, just think about that. That's a huge boost in productivity when you multiply it across a whole company. The revolution doesn't stop with office workers either. It goes right to the heart of how software gets made. GitHub Copilot, it's become the go-to AI assistant for developers. We're talking over 26 million of them are using it. It's like having a super smart partner coding alongside you, and it is completely changing the game for how software is built. So, what's really interesting is that this laser focus on AI isn't just an isolated thing. It's like a rising tide that's lifting all of Microsoft's other boats. It's creating this powerful halo effect, and you can see the momentum building across their entire portfolio. I mean, just look at their data and analytics side. Products like Fabric and their SQL databases are seeing just explosive growth. And it makes perfect sense, right? AI runs on data. The more AI you have, the more data you need to manage and analyze. So these tools are perfectly positioned to benefit from that boom. And you even see this ripple effect in places you might not expect, like LinkedIn. It's not exactly an AI infrastructure product, but it's now closing in on 1.3 billion members. It just goes to show how when one part of the company is firing on all cylinders, it helps the whole machine run better. So after hearing all that, all the huge numbers, all the growth, what's the big takeaway from Satya Nadella's vision for the road ahead? Well, it's actually pretty simple. They're doubling down. Yeah, he couldn't have been more clear about this. Even with all this amazing success, they see it as just the starting line. They're not resting. In fact, they're ramping up their investments in both the tech and the talent because they believe the real opportunity, the massive one, is still out there waiting for them.
Which really leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to chew on, doesn't it? As Microsoft pieces together this entire AI universe, from the concrete and steel of the data centers all the way to the apps on your phone, where is the next truly game-changing idea going to come from? Is it going to be from the giant brains in the cloud, or is it going to come from one of the millions of regular people and developers who suddenly have these incredible tools in their hands? It's a future that's unfolding right in front of our eyes.